Okay, first and foremost, I want to begin this lesson by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Ruchakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you fellow brethren, laboring this truth and sincerity. Shalom to the hopefully elect. All right. I just want to do a quick lesson through the spirit, episode of news and prophecy going into World War III. And then Lord willing, I'll bring out, an article, Lord willing, to be edifying to the elect as well as comforting. All right, first we're going to get Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 5. This is Isaiah 9 and 5. It says, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." And that's going into ancient battles where it had to be up close and personal. You hear swords clacking, shields clacking, men screaming, okay, moaning, dying. It says, "in garments rolled in blood," because it was so up close and personal, the nature of ancient warfare, that your blood, Salaki, your clothing may be soaked in blood due to the up close and personal nature of war. Okay, but it says, "but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire." What is that this referring to? Let's get this. That this in Revelation, Salaki, in Isaiah 9 and 5 is going into this. This is Revelation 11 and 14. It says the second woe is past, and that woe means death and destruction. Is going into World War II. World War II is already past. Okay? And it says, "behold," which means to look. "The third woe cometh quickly." All right? So that's the this was Revelation, like Isaiah 9 and 5 is referencing. It's referencing the third woe, which is what? Um, World War III. Okay, so I'm going to bring out a quick article right quick. This is from Newsweek. All right, fair use for educational purposes only. It says China loads over 100 nuclear ICBMs in the silos. A little read into it. It says China has probably loaded more than 100 of its nuclear-armed solid-fuel DF-31 intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, into 3 silo fields near its border with Mongolia, a new draft Pentagon report says, according to Reuters. Okay, so they've loaded over 100 of their intercontinental ballistic nuclear missiles. Okay, and they ain't doing this for nothing. There are billions of dollars that's being spent on this, and they ain't spending that money on that. They have no plans to stand down, as we'll see as we continue. It says the draft report, which could still change, meaning, that could very well go up, that number. It's definitely not going to go down. It's not going to die down. So, yeah, it could change, but that change more than likely will be those numbers going up. It says again, the draft report, which could still change, also assesses that China does not want to have talks on arms control, Reuters reported. All right, so they don't want to. They don't want to talk, and they ain't trying to die down. They don't want to hear. It's war now. As our elder Apostle recalled and mentioned, we're already in at World War III. It's just going to escalate. All right. Again, it says China does not want to have talks on arms control, Reuters reported, as is hoped for by President Donald Trump, who is pushing for denuclearization with Beijing as well as Russia and North Korea. So Trump wants them to denuclearize, and they don't want to have talks on it. They don't want to hear it. It says Newsweek has contacted the Chinese embassy in Washington, D.C. for comment via email. A spokesperson for the Pentagon told Newsweek they have no comment. So they don't want to talk about it. Okay, and here's a picture of that DF-31BJ intercontinental ballistic missile. All right, and I'm going to read under the article. It says a DF-31BJ intercontinental ballistic missile is seen during a military parade marking the 80th anniversary of victory over Japan and the end of World War II. So as scripture said, the second war is past, behold, the third war cometh quickly. Reading more into it, it says Trump has recently accused China of conducting secret nuclear tests and threatened that the U.S. will resume its own. Beijing denied Trump's accusations and said it upholds its intercontinental obligations on non-proliferation. According to the Missile Defense Project at the Center for Strategic and Intercontinental Studies, or CSIS think tank, The DF-31 is a three-stage solid fuel missile with an estimated range of 4,350 to 7,270 miles. So it can very well, reach to the U.S. It says, and listen to this, it's very heavy through the spirit. It says the DF stands for Dong Fang or East Wind. Again, the DF stands for Dong Fang or East Wind, and that's spiritual. And it also is known by its NATO designation CSS-10. It says first deployed in 2006, it now has three variants: DF-31 or CSS.10 Mod 1, DF-31A or CSS-10 Mod 2, and DF-31AG. It can carry a single warhead of 500 kilograms, delivering 200 to 300 kilotons of nuclear payload per CSIS, or per that think tank. It says China is working to modernize its nuclear forces according to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists over the past 5 years. China has significantly expanded its ongoing nuclear modernization program by fielding more types and greater numbers of nuclear weapons than ever before. So they ain't doing this for nothing, man. This is gonna be the war to end all wars. All right, continuing on, it says the bulletin assesses that China currently has 600 warheads in total, of which 276 are intercontinental in range. It says a Pentagon estimate from 2024 predicts that China will surpass 1,000 warheads by 2030. We hoping it don't make it to 2030. Hopefully it pops off sooner, Lord willing. It says analyzing and estimating China's nuclear forces. Hold up. Gotta pop up. Right here. It says analyzing and estimating China's nuclear forces is a challenging endeavor, particularly given the relative lack of state originating data and a tight control of messaging surrounding the country's nuclear arsenal and doctrine, the bulletin says. Why would you want to tell your enemy your plans and what you got? Why would you want to do that? So China is keeping that secret because they they want to win. They plan to destroy this place. All right? And I want to bring out more information, but let me finish this. It says, like most other nuclear armed states, China has never publicly disclosed the size of its nuclear arsenal or much of the infrastructure that supports it. Why would you? Why would you tell your enemy, yeah, I got this for you, so he can plan and know how to defeat you? That'll be stupid. All right? So let me bring this out just to show you that we're in a time of war. As it says again in Revelation 11 and 14, it says the second war is past. Behold, the third war cometh quickly. And this, just clicked on ICBM. This is all the current articles, on ICBMs. So let's get a few. It says China loads, the one we're doing now, China loads over 100 nuclear ICBMs into silos. Another one says how U.S. nuclear weapons compare to Russia and China after new missile tests. Another one, photo shows test launch of U.S. Minuteman III nuclear missile. Map shows first U.S. nuclear missile test since Trump. North Korea close to finishing missile able to strike U.S., South Korea says. Satellite photo points to North Korea's military parade preparations. It says China unveils new nuclear missiles for global reach. U.S. flexes nuclear forces as Trump rattles saber at Putin. It says China reveals details of nuclear missile tests. U.S. alliance get major missile defense boost against specific adversaries. How China surprise ICBM tests alarm U.S. Pacific ally. It says map shows world's nuclear stockpiles as China warheads increase. Pictures show U.S. Minuteman III nuclear-capable missile hardware in depot. Minuteman III versus Yars. U.S. ICBM passes test days after Russian launch flops. It says U.S. launches nuclear-capable missile in arms race with Russia and China. We'll read a couple more. Russia preparing combat training ICBM launch, Kiev warns. North Korea's nuclear missile threat to U.S. homeland. U.S. stimulates ICBM attack by nuclear-armed North Korea. Slovakia. U.S. simulates ICBM attack by nuclear-armed North Korea. So, that's just a few of them. All these talks of nuclear warheads. You see? And this ain't for nothing, as apostles, elders, and brothers bring out. This ain't just to go into a museum. They're going to be used. How do we know that? Because prophecy says so. All right, so we're in a time of war. We know that the prophecies must take place in its proper order. You have to have that MOTB first, and we seeing that already on the scene. And we seeing the missiles on the scene, man. All right, prophecy reigns supreme, and we're looking forward to this place being destroyed through that third war, through thermonuclear warfare, man. This one shall be with burning and fuel of fire. This is the place of the lake of fire where the Lord is going to send his indignation on and have missiles shot out to this place and laser fire by the way of the chariots. All right? So I hope and pray that this has been edifying to the elect as well as comforting. Continue to gird up your loins. Stay fervent in the spirit. Stay diligent. Continue to fight the good fight of faith. We almost out of here. Lord willing, we're part of that precious number to be delivered from the destruction that Yahweh Shema Shai is about to bring. So with that, I say shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechakadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone. Shalom to the hopefully elect out there. Shalom.